My name's Patrick. I mostly post about record stuff on Instagram, but I'm trying to move over more to YouTube, where I can, do a little bit more long-form stuff that doesn't disappear after 24 hours. And this is kind of my launch video for this new project I'm doing. So I'm starting a series where I interview record collectors in their record rooms. Filmed several, got many scheduled. I'm editing now. That'll be out in the new year. But I wanted to kind of like soft launch the channel by talking about my stuff. What I'm going to do here is talk about several new records that came out this year, 2025, that I really liked. And then in the latter half of the video, I'm going to go through a bunch of my favorite used scores from the year. I'm more of a used buyer than a new buyer, but I always do my best to keep up with contemporary stuff, especially contemporary punk. Maybe you're in the same boat, maybe you're not in the same boat, you're here for the used stuff, but you might learn some good new stuff as well. I'm not doing a top 10, I'm not doing best of the year, I'm just doing records that I love from 2025. I hope you dig it, and like I said, new channel, new project, new idea. Feedback encouraged. DM me, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. I would appreciate it. I know I said that this was going to be in no order, but I'm going to start with my buddies, Imploders from Toronto. So, Imploders from Toronto. This is their second LP, if you can call it that. It's like 14 minutes long. It's hardcore punk. Targeted for Termination. And this one comes with a fancy little Obi strip that was only available at the record release show. This one came out on Neon Taste Records, which is Josh. He's a buddy of mine. I play in multiple bands with Josh. But it was also released in the UK on Static Shock Records, which is another label that's always worth checking out. There's a slight difference. This one has like an orange text, and the Static Shock version has like a yellow text. Sounds the same. It's not worth chasing down both. Very good contemporary hardcore that sounds like early 80s hardcore, and everybody says their hardcore band sounds like early 80s hardcore, but Imploders actually do it. If you like Career Suicide, if you like Brutal Nights, if you like early Black Flag, might even hear some Angry Samoans in here as well a little bit. Very, very, very good stuff. And like I mentioned, I'm just going to show off a little bit here. These are buddies of mine. So I got the test press as well. I got the Neon Taste regular version, and I got the Static Shock test press. So I feel like I'm set there. If you know anything about YouTube music copyright stuff, maybe hit me up, because I'm learning the hard way over here. Okay, so the second record I want to talk about for 2025 is Puffer. Montreal band. I've had the opportunity to see these guys live probably 3 or 4 or 5 times at this point. There's their first LP, came out on, again, Static Shock Records, same as Imploders, also Roach Leg Records. They have an earlier 12-inch that collects a 7-inch and a demo that came out on Drunken Sailor Records. What's up, Julian? They're riffy rock and roll. The 2 guitar players that are in this band are both shit hot. They're both so good and so entertaining to watch. But the interplay between the 2 guitarists is a sight to behold. If you like rock and roll, if you like riffs, if you like guitars, check out Puffer. I feel like this is on a lot of people's top records of the year for 2025, as well as also from Montreal, Beton Arme. They share members with Puffer. They're definitely less rock and roll. They're definitely less riffy. They're more oi. However, I would say it's more like Reek's Paris-style oi as opposed to Coxbar-style oi. Still sing-songy, still heavy on the woos. The power, the brute, is a little bit more forward. It's in French. Don't let that dissuade you. Super cool stuff. Just like Puffer, they've been kind of gaining steam for a couple years now. It's cool to see more people kind of get hip to some Canadian stuff that I've had the luck of seeing for a little while. However, I will say, if you like Beton, if you like Puffer, there's another band that I think you probably haven't heard of, and that's this band, Spleen. More or less half of Puffer, half of Beton Arme mixed together. This is a 12-inch that came out on Avant Records, and it collects these 2 cassette demos that Spleen put out, I think in like 23 and 24, so it's not brand new stuff, but the comp, like this LP came out in 2025. I had the opportunity of playing a show with these guys earlier this year, which was really cool because Beton played to a big crowd, Puffer playing to bigger and bigger crowds, but the same dudes are hanging out at the bar playing in Spleen, and it's like a normal size punk show. Like it was like a 100 person show or something, you know? This is a little bit more synthy than Beton or Puffer. I'm hoping, I have a feeling that their next record might be a little bit more representative of the live show that I saw earlier in 2025, which was pretty synth forward, but very fucking cool. I mentioned I gigged with Spleen. I want to throw this out there. Cult Crime. This is a band that I play in. This record came out this year, but it came out before I joined the band, so I feel like I'm allowed to sing its praises. This one came out on Ugly Pop, which is one of those labels where it's like, if you know, you know. It's classic Toronto hardcore label. They put out early records by Fucked Up. I think maybe the very first ever Career Suicide record. A number of high quality reissues. It's a record collector's record label. Cult Crime, to me, sounds like Regulations meets Split System. Kind of like riffy Australian rock and roll meets Scandinavian hardcore. I love this record so much. I saw them at the record release show, I think it was March 2025. They were a 3-piece. And I love this record so much that I bought it, bought the shirt, bought the everything. And I listened to it for a week straight. And then I sent Kurt, the drummer, a text and I was like, hey man, if you ever want like a backup drummer, a fill-in drummer, if you can't make a gig, let me know. I'm like, hell, I would even play rhythm guitar. Whatever you want, I want in on this band. And he says, do you want to come to practice on Wednesday and try out? And I was like, yes. And so ever since then, I've been playing rhythm guitar in this band. We just recorded a new LP. It'll be LP 2, or I guess this is technically a 12-inch EP. 9 songs. This is about 20 minutes. I consider this an LP. So we recorded LP 2 a week or two ago. That'll come out next year sometime for Cult Crime, so 4-piece as a band now. Speaking of Ugly Pop Records, they also put out this record this year by the Golden Shitters. I did a couple fill-in gigs for these guys back in October. Their drummer, Kyle, he plays in the band called The Dirty Nil, and so he's on tour quite often. And Matt and Dave, they're both dads, they're both family men. They don't have other bands that go on tour very often. So they wanted to play a couple gigs, and so they asked me if I could fill in for Kyle on the drums, so we played a couple shows. I had the delight of wearing Kyle's little jumpsuit. This is more like a spitzy kind of punk, like maybe intentionally lo-fi. You got a little bit of synth in there. Not as much synth as the Spits, but that's like the closest reference point you're gonna need to check that one out. Okay, moving on to a big one here. Homefront. Safe to say a lot of people were looking forward to this record this year. I've had the luxury of seeing Homefront grow from a demo to the band that they are now, who are constantly on the road and playing to thousands of people. It's been quite the glow up, and it's been really nice to see. I remember being at the bar with Warren, who's the drummer in Homefront, back in 2021, maybe early 2021, and him holding up his cell phone to my ear in a noisy bar being like, Graham is working on this new band and it's goddamn incredible, listen to this. And him playing Flaw in the Design, it was a song off the first record. And even that just being like, oh goddamn, of course he's gonna start the best band in Canada again. And so they put out that 12-inch EP, which is my personal favorite. They put out the first LP, and this is the sophomore LP. So I was kind of waiting for this one because of the sophomore slump that a lot of bands that are active in writing consistently go through. I kind of felt like this was going to be their make or break moment. Like they could have already plateaued. They could keep going. Who's to say? But then when I finally got the chance to hear this record, I was so happy that they're just getting better. Most people will compare them to Blitz Second Empire Justice, like the second Blitz record where they get a little new wavy, or at least synthy. And that is a pretty apt comparison. They do a Blitz cover, they do Coxbar covers, they definitely have Oi influence to them, but it's also like heavily rooted in new wave, new romantic, kind of like that early 80s punk that involved synths. But I have a feeling if you're watching this video, you already know about this record. Okay, back to hardcore. I don't even like hardcore that much, but Negative Charge I do like, however. From Winnipeg, a lot of this is Canadian, you might notice. Negative Charge, this is their debut LP, also on Neon Taste Records. I generally buy everything that Josh puts out. This I would buy no matter what record label it's on. If you like hardcore drums, this is the record for you. I'm a drummer. If the drums are good, I'm in, and I'm in. because the drums are absolutely incredible on this. Shut Me Off, I think it's, yeah, B1. I remember being a killer drum song. This is like fast and angry, which is exactly the kind of hardcore that I like. I tend to stay away from like macho, burly hardcore because I don't really identify with those, but Pissed, I'm all over Pissed, and that's what Negative Charge is. And also, what a great name, Negative Charge, Winnipeg. Who'd have thought? I'm gonna go in the completely opposite direction. The Hives forever, forever the Hives. They've been a favorite band of mine since I was a kid. I saw the music video for Walk Idiot Walk on Much Music, and I've been a fan ever since. Didn't look this up, but I bet this is their like 7th or 8th studio album. They've been an active band for 30 years, and considering that, I think this album is incredible. Like, the Hives 30 years into their career are better than the Rolling Stones 30 years into their career. The longevity is insane. Any year that we get a new Hives record is a good year for music to me. If you, for some reason, don't know them, this is not a good starting off point. Go back to the beginning, go back to the first 3 albums or whatever, but if you're a fan and you haven't listened to much of what they've done lately, check this one out because I think you might be surprised. Back to Montreal. This is Private Lives. This record came out on Feel It Records. This is their 2nd LP. Great design on this one. My buddy Josh does all the design here. He's also on bass duty. Chance, who's the principal songwriter and guitar player in this band. I'm envious of Chance, man. He's a rock and roll shark, not in the bad way, in the way that if he ever stops writing riffs, I think he might die. He's got a lot of bands. And every one of those bands has a lot of records, and every one of those records is just full of excellent riffs. My writing process is much more labored, so it takes me a little bit longer, but I'm envious of him and his process. Let's go to Australia. If it wasn't for Australia, I don't know what rock and roll would be like in 2025. I consider the Unknowns to be one of the great current rock and roll bands. So this is, technically I guess this is a Chats side project. Eamon, who's the singer in the Chats, he plays rhythm guitar in this band, and then the singer in this band, Josh, he plays guitar in the Chats. This is like guitar tone rock and roll. This is like, it sounds like a Gibson SG plugged into a Marshall stack on 10. Like, it sounds like Steve Jones. It sounds like Malcolm Young, although Malcolm Young played a Yamaha, didn't he? The record that they put out in 2023, which was called East Coast Low, was definitely my favorite record of that year, so I was really looking forward to this one. I did a couple shows in July with the Chats, with one of my bands, Chain Whip. They're just like genuinely big music heads, and there's no better way to understand that than to listen to the Unknowns, because the worship is here. They know what they're talking about. Similarly, Josh, again from the Chats, he's also in this band called Loose Lips. This is their debut LP. Josh from the Chats, the drummer from The Prize, who are also really good. They put out an LP this year, but I didn't get the chance to buy a copy yet. And the bass player, I think he was from an earlier lineup of Chubby and the Gang. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sort of like more lo-fi power pop, more like garagey side of power pop. Okay, last one up for new 12 inches of 2025, Sick Thoughts. This record is called Another Piece of Plastic. It came out on Rock Records, which is, I believe, self-released. Sick Thoughts are one of those bands that, they're a rare band where they just get better over time. The majority of my record collection, the majority of, I think, any punk collector's record collection, you're going to see great first album, decent second album, and then your mileage may vary after there. Drew does a great job navigating around that. I believe he started the band when he was like a kid. I think he was like 14. Would have been based in Baltimore at that point. I believe he's bounced all over the place. Everything that Drew has put out under Sick Thoughts post-COVID has been incredible to me. I think there's 1 LP and 2 12-inch EPs over the last 5 years. And it's just, considering that he's 15 years into his discography, the fact that he's getting better is just very rare. I heard some people compare this to Jay Retard, which is like, it's not wrong, but it's also not as accurate as could be. It's garagey. sometimes it's power poppy. There's even a track on here, The Doom, which is, it doesn't sound like any other Sick Thoughts song. It's just punk. This is very, very, very good punk. I was also fortunate enough to be gifted a test pressing copy of the Sick Thoughts record from the year before, from 24. So this is Born to Blitzkrieg test press version. Pretty cool to see. Thanks, Drew. The economics of putting out a single in 2025 is pretty discouraging. Like a 7-inch today costs as much as an LP did 10 years ago, and you're only getting 2 songs. It's kind of a bummer. I understand why most bands don't put them out. I understand why most labels won't even touch them anymore. That being said, I love them, and I'm still willing to buy them. So if you're going to put them out, let me know, because I'm probably going to buy it. It's good. So with that, I want to celebrate some of the bands that I'm into that put out singles this year. Let's start off here. So we've got the number ones. From Ireland. These guys are from Dublin. Great design on this one. Considering how much of a splash these guys created when they first started, which would have been 2012 was probably the first time I heard them, 2013 maybe. They've definitely slowed down to like a trickle. At this point, if we get a new number ones 7-inch every 5 years, we're lucky. But they're worth the wait. If you like the good vibrations, great Irish tradition of excellent power pop, then this is right up your alley if you haven't heard this one. Back to Canada for this one. This is Bootlicker. Scandinavian style D-beat from vaguely British Columbia. The EP is called Conscientious Objector. Took me a lot of begging to get a copy of this one because this is like a tour-only exclusive for the UK. We're jumping all over the place here. So we've got the new release, long overdue, from Eddy Current Suppression Ring. You can see a nice little sticker that they included there. I think there's 4 different color sleeves on this one. This came out on Cool Death Records. As if 7 inches aren't inconvenient enough, how about a 7-inch that comes with an insert that's too big for the record? This is an idea that is so annoying, so silly, that I wish I thought of it. I'm going to group these two together. So here we have SSIK, and we've got Pill Mill. Both of these are like very young contemporary hardcore bands out of British Columbia. Both of these are split releases between Neon Taste and Slow Death Records. So that's Josh from Chain Whip and Lewis from Bootlicker's record labels. Both of these are very good contemporary hardcore, young guys hardcore. Okay, so let's close out with Australia. I realize now in hindsight, Canada, Australia. That's a lot of what I listen to these days. RMFC. This is I believe it's still a solo project. I know it started as a solo project. Rock Music Fan Club is what I originally learned. There's a great insert on this. Realize my full capacity. I am an official member of the RMFC Fan Club. Rock Music Fan Club. The record that RMFC put out in 2023 called Club Hits is the LP. I've listened to that more than probably any other record over the last couple of years, and so I was very excited to get this. This is like, it continues in the same tradition. Okay, last two, also Australia, Split System. They put out 3 7-inches this year. I've only got 2 of them. The one that's missing is a split with Les Lilies from France. Again, you've heard me say it, guitar-driven rock and roll in the way that really only Australians can do. There's something special about it. If you're still here and you're into this, please hit subscribe, like, comment, do all that kind of stuff. This is a new project that I'm doing, as I mentioned. I'm going to be talking to a lot of other collectors, interviewing people, getting to know them and their collections and their stories. But I'm also going to be just talking about records and doing musical deep dives a lot more on YouTube. In the past, I've done a lot more stuff on Instagram, but I like the long form format that I can do here. And I just think that it might be a better home for this kind of stuff. So I want to make something cool, and I want it to be good for you. So give me a shout.